Chosen one. Have you ever looked at your family and felt like a complete outsider? Like you were dropped into a foreign world where nobody speaks your language, shares your values, or understands your heart? If you're a chosen one, this wasn't an accident. You weren't dealt a bad hand by mistake. The constant criticism, the narcissistic abuse, and the suffocating toxic dynamics you experienced growing up were actually part of a highly strategic spiritual setup. You were born into the dark because your light was meant to break the cycle. Today, we're breaking down the real, raw reason you were placed in a toxic family dynamic, how narcissistic relationships were used to test you, and what your true mission is moving forward. So let's get into it. Toxic families operate on unspoken rules, denial, control, and emotional manipulation. In narcissistic households, there is usually a golden child who complies and a scapegoat who speaks the truth. We don't have to guess which one you are, chosen. You were born with a frequency that rejects manipulation. You were placed in that specific family to act as an alchemist, the process of turning lead into gold, taking the heaviest, darkest energies and transforming them into something pure. Your soul chose the hardest battleground because you possess the strength required to absorb generational trauma, process it, and refuse to pass it down. You are the structural dead end for their toxic legacy. Toxic relationships you endured, both within your family and the partners you attracted later in life, were not meant to destroy you. They were your training grounds. Narcissists are drawn to the light of the chosen one like moths to a flame. They targeted your empathy, your kindness, and your innocence. But notice what happened. Every time they tried to diminish your light, they actually forced you to develop boundaries. Through surviving narcissistic abuse, you learned how to see through illusions. You developed an inescapable intuition. You learned the hard way that you cannot save people who love their own darkness. That toxic environment was a boot camp that forced you to find your sovereignty and reclaim your power. When you had absolutely nothing left, it stripped away your people pleasing tendencies and forced you to stand entirely on your own 2 feet. You had to become your own source of validation, love, and protection because the people who were supposed to provide that for you were the very ones trying to tear you down. Of course, there is a price to your awakening, chosen one, and you know this all too well. The hardest part for any chosen one is the isolation. When you begin to heal, look at the dynamic objectively, and speak the truth, the family system will naturally rebel against you. They will call you crazy, ungrateful, or cold. This rejection is actually your liberation. It's the universe forcing you out of an environment that would otherwise stifle your growth. You had to overcome the deep seated desire for validation from people who are fundamentally incapable of giving it to you. The moment you stopped looking to your toxic family for approval was the exact moment your true spiritual awakening began. You cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. The smear campaigns, the silent treatment, and the projection were all just energetic filters pushing you towards your true destiny. You had to lose them to find yourself. Look, if you're watching this video, take a deep breath. Look at how far you've come. You survived the gaslighting. You survived the smear campaigns. You survived the emotional neglect. You were born into a toxic family dynamic not as a punishment, but because you were the only one strong enough to break the chain. The training's over, chosen. It's time to stop playing the victim of your past and start living as the victor of your future. You are free and you are sovereign. Keep the faith, chosen. Peace and love.